Hi, my name is Frankie. Thank you for listening to my mom. I never listen.
Okay, let's break it down with head coach Mary Evans from Valparaiso. Coach, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that. How you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. So it's a busy time of the year with basketball, but also just trying to get everything ready for the holidays and hopefully have a good experience for our little ones this year.
As a parent, I know for me, I haven't bought very many presents. It kind of relies on my husband. He does a really good job. How's it work at your house?
A little bit of the same. We just took our last little trip out today, so to get a couple last minute things, but I think we're done and everything's wrapped and should be good to go now.
Okay, so if you were going to wrap a present under your tree for your team, what would it be?
Oh man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think obviously for this team, I think I'd want to wrap up a little bit of infusion of confidence. I think they need to understand how good they are and figure out how to come together a little bit right now.
It seems like everywhere I go, this is the time of year where, exams are over. Now you're focusing on basketball. And I have had that discussion with many players, especially
Yeah.
shooters. And,
Yeah.
and here's what I've been saying. You tell me what you say. I'll tell you what I'm saying. I'm saying if a shooter loses, you cannot lose your confidence. No shooter can lose their confidence. Number one, there's technique. Are you shooting the ball correctly? Number two, shot selection. Are you working on game speed shots that you're going to get in your system? And number three, if it's a confidence thing, you have no time in college basketball to lose your confidence. You don't play enough games. You're already a third of the way through. What do you say?
I talked a lot to our shooters. I think they put in a lot of extra time in getting those shots you're talking about. And so oftentimes if we have shooters that have gotten off to a rough start, I try to infuse confidence by letting them know that averages are going to play out and that we know what kind of shooters they are. And so if they're shooting well under their typical average, then they're getting ready to go on what heck of a tear as far as a shooter. And I think, we've seen that every year with various people in our program. So I think for our players right now, just figuring out the shots that they need to take and how to work together and, what are good shots and bad shots are kind of been our struggle. And we've been talking through a lot of that. And I think it's getting better. It's been nice to have some time to just focus on us over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is a time also where you're just doing game planning. You're just doing, scouting reports. You're not really getting back to the basics. And I know that's something that you had mentioned early in the year that you really wanted to concentrate on some fundamentals. You got kids coming back that are playing different roles than they played last year. How's that working?
I think we've shown signs of playing really good basketball. I think it's a consistency thing with us. I know we've been talking a lot with our sports psychologist about being intentional with everything that we do. And, we've kind of gotten off to some slow starts and then we've had good second halves. And it's just for us trying to figure out how to put that 40 minutes together and which lineups play well together and consistency of individual players and then consistency of us as a group of five. And I think, again, we've had great minutes within that. It's just kind of finding that rotation that's going to get it done over the course of 40 minutes.
So your last game was canceled due to weather. Like how does that work for you with where your team is and the confidence thing that you're talking about? Like you're always wanting to have another opportunity to play to prove that you've improved. Where are you?
We've spent, we had a nice long break. We played on the 9th and then, we were very fortunate. A lot of our players had finals earlier, had take home finals. So we were able to get a couple pretty good practices in during finals week. And then here since finals have ended. And so, we hate to not have the opportunity to kind of put in some of the things that we've been working on. We've been really focusing on movement and our defense and running good offense. And we hate to not get that opportunity to go up to Wisconsin and see if we've improved in those areas. But it is what it is. And we've got to, get back here after Christmas and get back to work. And we did a little bit of inter squad yesterday just to try to get some game conditioning to make sure we weren't missing out on that. And we'll get back and do a similar thing on the 27th and start working on Belmont. And we'll have to, I hate to wait till Belmont to find out if we've improved, but that is kind of what the situation, the hand we've been dealt and we'll take it and we'll go with it and we'll see what happens.
I think when you're in the Valley, sometimes records can be a little bit misleading in the non-conference. I have watched Belmont for 3 days over Thanksgiving. Yeah. I know they're a really good team and they just struggled to get some W's. It doesn't really diminish the level of improvement that I see in Bart's squad. So when you're looking at, you know, what your record is, what their record is. You're getting ready to start conference play. They haven't played any conference games in the league yet. It's a different feel. It's like new season. How's your approach?
You know, I think it's like you said, it's a new season. You know, the non-conference is done and we have to take what we can learn from that and how we can grow from that. And now we have to enter conference. I think we had that similar mindset last year as we got into conference, and every game for us is about just learning and growing. And like I said, first year mentality. We've got to not worry about results. We've got to focus on the process of playing every possession the way we need to play every possession. If we do that, the rest of it will take care of itself. And I think that's sometimes for a young team a hard thing to understand, right? Like they're very result oriented, and they can't let their mental game, their confidence be determined by results. They've got to just go possession after possession, try to win possessions and play the best we can on the offensive possession, defensive possession, have a short memory and get on to the next one. And that's what we've been talking a lot about as a team. We've been talking a lot about that with our sports psych guy, and you know, just trying to grow in that aspect and kind of teach them how to win college basketball games. I think sometimes when you're dealing with young and inexperienced players, it's a lot different than high school and AAU, and possession means a lot, and you have to value it. And you can go, oh, well, that's just 2 points, but you can lose a game by 1 point and 2 points, and those 2 points really mattered. So gotta
So
value.
Mary, you just hit on a couple of buzzwords. You said winning,
Yeah.
you said journey, and you said sports psychologist.
Yeah.
You're right. Like in today's generation, it's about winning, right? It's the end result. It's not the journey. We know as older, more experienced people that it is the journey. It is the time with your teammates. It is the process, and it does take time. How do you do that?
I mean, you just keep talking about it and the importance of it and trying to give them examples of it. And, you know, I'm leaning hard on Elise Pitts because she's one of the few kids that was here year one that saw the improvement and went through that process with that group of understanding, you know, the intentionality of every day getting better, the intentionality of playing every single possession, and getting her to kind of talk to these young people that don't really know how to win yet. And it's hard. And I think, you know, I've talked to a lot of my friends that coach, and I think outsiders looking in don't realize how difficult it is to win basketball games. Like when you see a team go undefeated in a season, that is an unbelievably amazing accomplishment. Like the night in, night out grind, no matter how talented you are. Like it's a really difficult thing. And so I think them understanding that and really focusing on the factors that are going to help us win and the things we need to do to win, the things we need to eliminate doing to win, and getting back to those little things and focusing on those. And again, not worrying about it, but it's hard. It is very hard with this generation. And I think it's hard when you coach a group of young women that are very, you know, I've dealt with a lot of high academic kids. They're a little bit of a perfectionist. So results are very important to them, whether it's academics or it's basketball. And so it's kind of retraining that mindset and them understanding, but it's an important life lesson because life can beat you up. And if you don't enjoy the journey, it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, because when they're 20 years from now, when they're hanging out together and they're talking about what happened in their college days, it's not going to be the results. It's going to be all the fun and everything that happened. Okay, let me shift gears with you for a second, because I know that you are a two-sport athlete and you're a big soccer fan. So we just had the World Cup. What did we learn from the World Cup?
Oh man, there were some great games. I unfortunately didn't get to see as much as I wanted to, but I think you saw that any team can win. I mean, you saw some teams that people weren't expecting to do well, really perform well. And it's such an amazing stage. It's such high level soccer, and gosh, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, did you take anything from Messi or anything from Argentina and the way they lost early and they were able to bounce back that you would spin on your own team?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I wasn't able to see a lot of it, but I did know they lost early. And I think it just shows resiliency. I mean, they're playing on the largest stage with all of these people looking at them. And I'm sure when they lost early, their country was very down on them, but they stayed together as a team. They continued to believe. And I think teams that win continue to stick together and believe no matter what the outside noise is. And I think that's an important thing for young teams to understand.
So when you're with your team, is one of the things that you talk about is New Year's resolutions, or do you have one, or do you do something with your team that's special around the new year?
You know, we haven't so far. You know, I'm sure it's something we might talk to them about, but I think, you know, for us, it's a start of it's a new conference season. You know, it's a new semester academically. It's an ability to kind of start fresh. And I think that's something we have talked about the second season and even the third season as you get into conference tournament and Moline. And so, that's something we'll talk about as we move forward after Christmas, and having an opportunity to kind of right some wrongs and to clean up some things that maybe we haven't done well through the non-conference. And again, I talk a lot to them. We're only losers if we don't learn. If we continue to learn and grow, you're never a loser. And so just continuing to work on growing, and you can't guarantee what the result will be, but the fun of it is growing and learning and getting better. And that's what we should be focused on.
Well, I wish you well in the new year, Mary, and I really appreciate you spending this time with us. I'm excited about the Missouri Valley as ever, because I think it's going to be kind of like the World Cup. You could lose early, you could win the championship. Who knows? I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's going to be a beast this year. It's there's a lot of great teams, and it should be a lot of fun to compete.
Well, thank you so much. Best wishes.
You too. Have a great holiday.